Now, Minority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has today launched an attack and made unfounded claims against the Joy brand. Now, Senior News Editor and Head of our Political Desk, Evans Mensa, joins me in studio. Now, I know you're not a very happy man this afternoon.
Of course, I can be. When you have the Minority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, make confounded accusations against the media organization that I represent, obviously, you cannot be happy. But the point about his issue, and it started yesterday, fundamentally says that we should not describe him as the minority leader. But there was a ruling in the House yesterday by the Speaker. The Speaker is clothed with the sole authority and mandate, according to the standing orders that he, Afenyo-Markin, and the rest of the members in Parliament put together recently, new Speaker, the standing orders, that clothed him with the authority to deliver such rulings. He is, if you like, the equivalent of the Chief Justice in Parliament, and his ruling is final until you challenge it and challenge it successfully, which is what he's seeking to do at the Supreme Court. So until the Supreme Court vacates the the Speaker's ruling yesterday, it is the law in Parliament. What does that mean? It means numerically the MPP's numbers have dwindled now by 3.
Yes.
So from 137, plus, of course, one independent candidate who was doing business with them, they are now down to 135. The NDC's numbers had also reduced by 1, from 137 to 136. Numerically, it's very simple. They become the minority, as in the MPP. The NDC becomes the majority. That will hold sway and will remain the status quo now until the Supreme Court overturns it if he is successful. So you have to describe him as such. We are a news organization. We have to be factual and we have to be accurate. In reporting this, to be accurate and to be factual, when you have a numerical balance of 135 against 136, you cannot say anything else than one side is a minority, one side is a majority. Regardless of what happened before the ruling, which indeed, again, factually so, he was a majority leader, and Case After Force was a minority leader. But once the ruling was delivered, and he himself acknowledges that to challenge this successfully, he needs to go to the Supreme Court. He himself is admitting, by the sheer step he's taking to get to the Supreme Court, that the Speaker's decision, the ruling, stands. Absolutely. Right? And so until if indeed he believes that the Speaker's ruling is invalid, he wouldn't have gone to the Supreme Court. He would have found another way of doing it on the floor of Parliament. And there are processes in the standing orders for you to challenge the Speaker's decisions on the floor. But he's choosing the path of going to the Supreme Court. The mere fact that he chose that step alone is an admission that I say Chief Justice a lot because part of this is straddling between the Judiciary and Parliament. The Judiciary will have the final say on this, but the Speaker's ruling is final. And we have, as a media organization, must describe it as such. When the Supreme Court rules, either affirms the decision yesterday, overturns it, we will again play by the rule of what the Supreme Court had done. And again, as you've seen, and people have different positions on this matter, as a media organization, you can only follow what the facts say, which is what we've done. Why is this easy to do? You don't have to complicate it. In 2020, when Speaker Oke was there and he delivered that seminal decision, which in essence made the Fomina seat, the MP then at the time vacated the seat, and then he then becomes, because he had gone independent, at that time, the MPP, they were in power. They had the numerical advantage was so significant that if you take one of the seats away, they still remain a majority. At the time, it held sway. They were still the majority because the numbers were what it was. And that ruling stood. Today, nobody went to the Supreme Court to challenge that, right? Even if anybody did, it wasn't successful because that carried on until the after elections and he came back to the House as a minority, as an independent candidate and started doing business with the MPP side. Today, Speaker Bagbin has delivered his ruling. That again will become the law in Parliament until somebody successfully challenges it. And as journalists and as a media organization, we can only report that fact.
I've got a question for you quickly. And so between the time that he goes to court until then, if there's any ruling from the court or if there's anything that comes out from the court, we're allowed to address him as minority leader.
No, so let's be clear. Alexander Afenyo-Markin is the minority leader as we speak. The MPP is the minority party in parliament as of today. The NDC is the majority party in parliament as of today. Case Letter Forcing is the majority leader as we speak today. And that is very clear on the face of what had been decided by the speaker yesterday. That's what it is. And Alexander Afenyo-Markin is wrong in questioning our reporting of the facts as we all saw play out in the full glare of this country on national television as did by the Speaker of Parliament. We can only report that. There is a contest over whether it was constitutional or not. That contest will be decided by the Supreme Court. That is not our domain as journalists. We will have to report what has happened in Parliament. Parliament is the master of his own rules. When the Speaker did it in 2020, it was a law in Parliament. Speaker has done it today, it's a law in Parliament, and we can only report that fact. And so, to repeat the point, Alexander Afenyo-Markin is wrong to question our report and to accuse us of being mischievous. We're not mischievous.
Are we taking any steps?
When he was in Parliament then, as one of the leaders in 2020, and this happened, he was happy with that decision at the time. Now, of course, things has flipped because you have a hung parliament, and it has implications for your ability to hold on to your majority position. And of course, I understand. It takes this personally because, of course, you are the leader at the time when this decision has been taken. So you understand why he is unhappy about the outcome. But what he cannot do is to tell a journalist not to report the fact. He's not entitled to do that.
I totally agree. But are we going to take any steps?
I mean, the steps is to point out the error in what he's done, which is exactly what we're doing, and to be absolutely unequivocal about making the point that we are absolutely right. The Constitution enjoins us to report the facts. The GJ Code of Ethics enjoins us to report the facts. And nobody, even when you're aggrieved at an outcome of a decision of an authority such as the Parliament, remember, the Speaker was delivering that ruling, but he was doing it as the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. When an authority like that has delivered a verdict, to tell a journalist not to report that verdict and its implications is just wrong, and we won't do that because, as we say, we are bold, we are fearless, we are credible, but above all else, we can be all this, but if we fail to be accurate and factual and balanced, then we stop being journalists.
Right. I'll let you go. Final question, and I'll let you go. What does this mean in governance? What does it really mean? Does it have any impact?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the entire architecture has changed. This is historic. We haven't seen it before. It's going to affect government business in the House. That's why they have taken the step to boycott it. It is their right to boycott it. And the beauty of the point about, just to go back and, wrap it around the answer to the question about the impact on governance is, we gave Afenyo-Markin a platform yesterday to speak, right? In fact, he objected to our describing him as a minority leader, right? But we still gave him the platform. That is what a responsible, fair, transparent, objective media house does. Yeah. Even when the person is not happy with you, you still give him the platform because we are enjoined to represent all sides of an issue, which is what we did. So as for the governance questions, I believe because it's an uncharted territory, there are a lot more we need to learn. For example, what happens to the second deputy speaker's position?
Yes.
As we speak, that position is vacant, right? So an election will have to happen. Again, next week, what happens to the various committees in Parliament? Do you have to reconstitute them? Yeah. It has governance implications. The legislative work, as far as the government is concerned, will be affected.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Evans. Thank you. Now,